weeks back, Magene released this, the L508 Bike Radar Taillight. And it's the first functional cycling radar unit that I've tested other than Garmin's popular Varia radars. And if you've seen any of my Garmin Varia radar reviews, you'll know that those are products that I love and I really wish every cyclist would consider. I really do believe in these radar systems, but of course only if they work. So let's take a look at the Magene L508, see if it works, and see how it compares to the Garmin bike radar options. Now, if you pick up the Magene L508 bike radar, it'll cost you about $129 US, which is of course cheaper than Garmin's Varia 515. I'd say, probably the closest comparable bike unit. Of course, Garmin makes 3 different types of Varia radars, but the 515 suggested retail is $200. So the 508 unit from Magene, it is at a really nice price point. Now, if you do pick one up, in the box, you'll find the radar unit itself, rubber mounting bands, USB-C charging cable, instruction manual, a quick start card that's supposed to kind of link you to their app from their QR code here. For me, that part didn't quite work. Also, they have a lanyard attachment in here in the seat post mount. And the mount here is compatible with round seat post, arrow seat post, or D-shaped seat post. Now, if it isn't super clear how radars work, you have a radar, it goes on the back of your bike, it's running constantly as long as it's turned on. It'll detect objects that are moving faster than you towards you, and it'll broadcast that information up to the head unit that's either connected via ANT+ or Bluetooth. And in the case of the Magene L508 that I tested here, I tested it with the Hammerhead Karoo 2, Wahoo Roam version 2, Garmin Edge 1040 Plus, and an older Wahoo Bolt. Worked fine with all of those different cycling computer head units. So it should work with, whatever bike computer you may have, as long as whatever you have does support cycling radar units in that ANT+ protocol. Now, up until recently, Garmin's really been the only game in town with its, Varia series of radars. And I'd say, it seems a little unclear as to what's going on with patents here and, who's allowed to make use of this radar technology. I'm guessing that, Garmin's lawyers are just, having a field day over all of these patent issues with the newly announced, radar systems from both Magene, as well as Brighton. Brighton actually announced a radar unit a little while back. I think they're struggling with the production of their I think it's called the Guardia R300 taillights, but it is starting to sound like Garmin might not be the only option for cycling radars in the near future. But this 508 unit, it can detect objects that are coming to you from 140 meters away, and the radar has a 40-degree beam angle. And the radar unit itself weighs about 64 grams. And again, comparing that to a comparable Garmin, the 515 here weighs 71 grams. So pretty similar as far as weight goes. And the Magene has a quarter turn mount, again, similar to what Garmin has here, but their mounting system is offset by 90 degrees. And I think that's kind of like what Wahoo does with their computers. But it has a few different light modes. It can do a solid light, flashing light, a pulse light, and Peloton mode, which is the mode that I typically use most. It's used for when you're riding with other cyclists. It also has a light off mode, but the radar is still active. And you can actually customize the pulse flashing interval using the Magene utility apps. I didn't mess with it personally. In fact, I downloaded the app, put it on my phone, but I haven't really used it much over the past 2 months that I've been testing this particular product. And this particular product is water resistant. It's IPX7, so you don't have to feel like you have to worry about it or baby it if you're taking it out on a rainy day or anything like that. And it'll actually automatically go into sleep mode if it doesn't detect movement after a few minutes, and then it'll wake back up if it does detect movement. I actually think that feature is pretty cool as someone who forgets to turn off all of these weird little devices that I have on my bike very frequently. But it also has an accelerometer built into it, so it can detect when you stop quickly. It'll actually show a brighter tail light for about 3 seconds. As far as battery life goes, you can expect around 6 hours in solid mode, 10 hours in flashing mode, 8 hours in Peloton mode, 12 hours in pulse mode, and 3 months in standby mode. I think in reality, those numbers are gonna line up somewhat similar to, the 515 here. So again, I don't think you can distinguish between these two devices based on battery life. As far as dislikes goes, I have noticed a few minor issues. I noticed that the radar will flash when it detects a car, and it seems to flash again when the car is actually passing. It feels to me like it's a bit late when the car is passing, as in, I don't know if the car could actually see that flashing light because they'd already be next to me when that second flashing light triggers. Other than that, overall, I don't have a ton of dislikes here. I didn't have a ton of false positives, and I definitely, again, false positives meaning that it says there's a car there when there really isn't. But more importantly, I didn't have a lot of false negatives, meaning it told me there wasn't a car there and there actually was. Again, much more important. Again, I said this before, I'm a huge fan of these cycling radars that are on the market. You know that if you've been watching this channel for a while. A lot of people are gonna say, Matt, why not use a mirror so you can actually see the cars behind you and save yourself $200? And to that I say, absolutely, go for it. But you should also use a radar. You should do all the things that are helpful, anything that is safety oriented. That's what you should do when you're out there playing in traffic. But back to the original question, should you pick up the Magene or should you pick up something like the Garmin 515? Ultimately, I would say, again, it comes down to price sensitivity here. If the Garmin 515 is at full price at $200, then yes, I think the Magene is a solid option at a big discount. Actually, on Amazon right now, I'm seeing it with a little additional $10 coupon added to that already low price of $129. So maybe snag it, especially if you're skeptical of radars and you don't really want to spend a ton of money on something that you're not sure you'll really use that often. Or on the other hand, if you're seeing Garmin and it's on sale, like I saw it either on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, all the way down to $150, then at that point, it's not a huge jump in price. Maybe you would prefer the Garmin just because of the brand name recognition, and it might be something that you're more used to. Sadly, I'm not seeing that $50 discount on the 515 as of the recording of this video, but these prices on these devices, they always tend to jump around a little bit, and I would suggest keeping an eye on things. I'll try to find the best price, on both of these devices for you guys. I'll link in the description in this video, as well as I'll pin a comment to the top of the comment section if you want to check them out there. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. No joke, Garmin or Magene, what would you guys consider? I actually think the Magene is a reasonable alternative at a very good price point. But either way, be sure to get out there, swim, bike, run, rinse, and then repeat it all over again. And we will see you guys on the next one.